I'm not even really going to edit this. I'm just going to film this off the cuff, to be honest, and just slap some gameplay over it and whatever. Not doing much. I just need to rant, and this is a perfect channel to do it. Real talk. So, I was looking at, local house prices, just rent and everything. Housing, this is not a very populated, populous, or popular place to move. 150, 200,000 just for any house in any okay spot. Unless you're living directly in the ghetto where it's maybe 100K. And who wants to put 100K into a house in the middle of the ghetto where there's shootings every day and drugs all over the place? That's a problem with the city government. Not here to rant about that. That's a rant for its own day. But I was looking at prices, I was looking at rent and stuff, and I kind of came to the realization, I might be a little bit screwed. At least if I tried to stay in my hometown or my home area. Most places were going for at least 650 to 700 a month. And you're like, okay, where you live? Like, big city or suburb of a big city? I live in West Virginia. There ain't no such thing as a big city. If you haven't been here before, yeah, I live in one of the bigger parts of the state. Sure, that bigger part of the state is maybe the size of a suburb of like Columbus. Maybe. If you combine all the cities and combine everything, maybe it might get to like 100K if you combine pretty much the whole county and a couple counties around us. So like, it's not super populous. There's housing. It's just 700 a month. And I look at my paychecks and I'm like, the most I can really make here, unless I'm working in a factory or like a law or something that requires a decade plus of school, I'm making, full disclosure, I'm making like between 350 450 bucks every 2 weeks after taxes from my admittedly part-time job. Full-time hours aren't available. I'm in school. Even if I wanted to work full-time, I'd be making at most like between 800 and 900 a month. So if a place is 700 a month, that'd give me 200 bucks to live off of a month. And that's one on the cheaper end. A lot of places are 1,000. Now obviously there's roommates, obviously. Most of these places that are 2 or 3 beds, in admittedly any spot that isn't the ghetto, or adjacent to the ghetto, if I'm trying to go in a spot where I don't already know my chances of getting shot isn't every single day, and it's just like once a week, 800 or 900 minimum, so about 450 per person. So that's a little bit better. I was looking with my buddy today, just about 10 minutes ago, at, just hypothetically the slightly nicer town that was, it used to be a lot nicer, but now it's sort of starting to go downhill. That's right next to our hometown, like literally right next. So we were looking there, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,500 for a place above a gas station for a 4-bedroom. So it's like, okay, that's not too bad. That's like the only half decent deal in that town. I just, the whole thing, it's like, I'm doing a lot of complaining, I'm doing a lot of yapping, so half of you clicked off, or half of you commented, well, you could get roommates, or you could get a better job. My mom's been working for almost 30 years. She's just now, and it took a whole lot of work on her end, making 20 bucks an hour, and that's on the higher end, and she doesn't work in this state. She has to drive out of state. She has to drive over to Ohio. So, that's the high end. That's, you could afford a place. But she also has a kid, 2 kids, but I'm an adult, so, 1 kid that's fully reliant on her. So that's a lot of money. So, she needs the 20 bucks an hour. So if I got 20 bucks an hour, sure, I could afford an apartment. But that's about as far as it's going to get. There's no chance of owning a home. That's the high end. Factory work, medical work, law work, 20, probably between 20, 25 bucks an hour. That's the high end. You can afford an apartment. Barely. You can afford to eat. You're not going to have any savings. So you're never going to retire. It's just things are getting rough. I don't want to, make it political. But whatever the current administration's doing, it ain't working. Hasn't worked. Not for us, anyway. Most people don't even pay any mind to West Virginia. They chalk it up to whatever. So they can, not feel, not care. But, wow. It just set in tonight when I was looking at stuff like that. Like, wow. The future, I'm kind of black-pilled about the future. I'm like, well, things are not great, and I don't know if they can necessarily get that much better. Considering if I made, I don't even know how my coworker has an apartment. He's barely getting by. He makes, I think, 60 cents more than me an hour at this job, and then he got like a part-time cleaner job on the side. It's like 11 an hour, I think, is what he told me. So he's probably just getting by. I think that he's got 2 incomes, so that's how he affords his apartment. My boss, which I think this is egregious, I think makes 13 an hour as a store manager, or 12 or something like that. He's got 2 incomes. That's the reason he's got a place. I'm like, he's been working 20 years in all sorts of management positions, and that's kind of like the peak of it around here. So if I did that, I'm just barely gonna be getting by. I'm like, I'm not expecting grandeur. I don't want grandeur, but just to live in a half decent neighborhood is an arm and a leg when there's only an ankle, up to an ankle available. Like, I don't know, man. Things are just look bleak right now, and I wanted to rant. I don't even know if I'll post this, but if I do, it tells you I didn't have anything to post on this channel for a while. I don't know. You call me, you know, whatever for complaining or yapping or whatever. Say you voted for this when I didn't. I don't know. It's just that I wanted to be real. Real talk with JO3. And, yeah. Unless YouTube starts popping off or I find some other way to make, you know, a decent living, I gotta move for work. And it's just gonna be more expensive wherever I move. And I gotta leave home. Part of me, you know, a year ago I was all about leaving, and I still, for the most part, plan to leave eventually. But, you know, part of me's like, wow, I don't have the option. Part of me's like, I care about this place. I've learned to really care about this area, getting involved the last couple of years, but I don't have a choice as a young person, you know.